Mountains to Arathi Highlands, so I think it will be worth our journey. I also thought about getting a few more levels at Ashen Vale and then advancing to Stranglethorn Vale, but since I wasn't able to progress as much as I wanted in the last episode already, I'm really not too keen on PvPing in Stranglethorn. It could be possible that Hillspread is also pretty PvP heavy, but compared to STV we should be fine. If you like, you can go to Hillspread Foothills way before level 27. I would recommend around level 21, 22. The thing about this area is that there are a bunch of quests at that level range, and on a high rate server you might just stay in the zone, but if you are like on a ×1 server, you probably have to change the zone and come back later, since there are also a bunch of level 27 to 31 quests, and even above that. So it's a very wide range, and I'm just hoping that with this level range we are in right now, we will be able to get most of the stuff done. The only problem we might face is that some of the quests that will lead to the higher quests might be too low already. Like this one, for example, as you can see, no quest mark right here, so this one is grey. Like a bunch of those quest chains start low and then require you to be a very high level. So yeah, on a hybrid server like this, it's probably best to get here around level 23. So let's finish this rogue quest line. Again, if you didn't find a healer, you can also come here and just let this guy do it for you. Since this is a good questing area, just go for it if you want, but maybe on your way to Hillspread you want to get rid of this debuff. I think just asking on a high pop server like this shouldn't be any issue. So again, since I want a high level quest, it's important to also pick up the low level ones, and just in order to not forget anything, I would recommend you to, well, enable this one right here, low level quest. It just shows you everything that's around this area. Also keep in mind, although this quest is pretty low level, you can also find higher level enemies that also drop the quest items, like in this case with Elixir of Suffering. This quest is straightforward, just killing a bunch of those Watchmen and Syndicate members and generals. This is also a very nice area to farm glove and to train your pickpocketing skills. And if you are lucky, you will also be able to find those footlockers, which of course will help you to increase your lockpicking skill. The cool thing about this area in regards to lockpicking and also pickpocketing is that you won't only get better chunk boxes, but also Syndicate emblems, which you can turn in order to get reputation with the Ravenholds, which have their hidden location around this area. In Wrath of the Lich King, getting a high reputation with those guys isn't too useful, but it counts towards one of the hardest achievements in the history of WoW, which is called Insane in the Membrane. And this achievement required you to raise your reputation to Honored with Bloodsail Buccaneers and Exalted with Bootybay, Everlook, Ketchesen, Ratchet, Darkmoon Fair and also Ravenhold. But other than this very hard to come by title, the Insane, there's nothing you can gain from that actually. Here's the first jailer we need for the quest, the Rescue, which requires us to, well, rescue 2 orcs. You gain the burnished gold key and, well, you actually can't miss your quest target, I guess. Right in front of the jailer. By the way, you can use this neutral vendor in order to get rid of some of the junk. And she also sells the wolf bracers, which are great at this level. Same thing goes for the saber leggings. And you can also find the jailer right here. It's actually a very nice rogue. Doesn't kill me. Yeah, but that's the second one with the silver burnished key, and that other orc isn't that easy to find. You need to get all the way down here. And he's right inside that hut. So, not that obvious, but also not too hard to find, I guess. And there we go, level 29. Just accepted the quest Hercules Revenge. And this is another one of those quests which, depending on your luck, can take forever or can go by very fast. But usually it takes forever. At least I will be able to combine it with some mining.
A few moments later.
And never mind, I think I'm going to skip this for now. I just noticed I haven't the mining skill to get to gold veins, and on top of that, strategically I think it's better to do this quest hub right here first, since we are level 29 right now and since those mobs are around level 25 and 24. So in terms of a logical order, I think it's just way better to do this one first. This is another one of those rather self-explanatory quests, I guess. Just killing a bunch of those farmers. A few of them have names, but they are all around this area. I know, killing those low-level enemies might not seem too efficient, but keep in mind that I also want to bring up my first aid, so I need a bunch of full cloth too. But sure, in terms of pure leveling speed, you probably would just be better off, or like at least I would just be better off right now, going to another area or maybe popping the random dungeon finder. Also, since I'm that high of a level, I'm going to do the quest Dangerous right now. Usually you probably should wait with this for a bit, since Battle for Hillspread is a pretty long quest line, and after you complete each one of those quests alone, you will eventually get to all of those areas. So if you plan things out, you can be pretty efficient. But again, the increased leveling rates are kinda spoiling the way we can approach this, I guess. I'm going to use my perks as a rogue and just infiltrate this mine right here. Again, keep in mind, it never hurts to pickpocket on every occasion. Those miners run away at like 30% health, so pretty early. Be aware of that and maybe take care with a finisher or a stun. Otherwise you might get ambushed at this crowded place. Miner Hackett is right there. Nice, level 32, so making some good progress here. Also we can take Blade Flurry, which is a great ability. It increases your attack speed by 20% and you also will be able to attack another opponent nearby. Until Fan of Knives, rogues have a pretty hard time dealing AoE damage, so this comes a bit close I guess, and it's very handy at a 1-on-2 situation. Alright, since my Hearthstone had a little bit of cooldown left, I just wanted to try and get Harkur's Rod. And I got super lucky, like it was the first Yeti I killed on my second attempt. So yeah, we are done here and we are about to go back now and hand in some quests. Since we just did level 30, I also think there should be a bunch of new quests available. Elixir of Suffering is a pretty dark one if you think about it, since you basically just have to kill an innocent frog with your poison you just mixed, so yeah. Alright, onward to the next quest, or quest hub I should say. It's around the old place of Dalaran. Again, as always in World of Warcraft, just killing a bunch of guys and collecting some stuff. Those enemies have some special abilities you should be wary of, like for example the shield guards have the self buff which won't allow them to move, but deal massive damage if you attack them, so take care about that I guess. Also be careful when you move top here to Keegan, which you also need in order to complete a quest, because he is guarded by Warden Bellamore and she's very high level, so you should be careful. Make sure to stun and interrupt whenever she wants to cast a spell, since they do massive damage, but yeah, as a rogue you shouldn't have any issues. And there we go. The last Bloodstone, and now we only need to collect a few more tokens. Keep in mind that you can also collect those stone tokens from the NPCs around this area, but if you are not that high of a level there's no reason to. For a rogue they can be pretty easy to kill, since they are casters and you can interrupt their heavy spells. Ah, nice, level up. But usually the summoners around that area are a bit easier to kill, but again, make sure to interrupt them if you can. If they summon those spirits of old, it can get really annoying. Okay, let's use our Hearthstone and hand in those quests. Okay, and we are back. I just finished those quests. We gained another level and now we are at 33, which is great. I advanced to the Yeti Cave in order to empower the Rod of Harkur, which you can do with those flames right here. And right down there is another one. Great thing about Sunville is that the world feels very alive, and at least most of the time they are also very helpful and social. And right in this snowy landscape there's yet another one of those flames. It might not seem like it, but you can actually pickpocket those Yetis. And just like that, we are also done with this quest. But before we return, let's pay another visit to the place formerly known as Dalaran. If you need some gold, I would advise you to kill those mountain lions, especially if you picked up skinning. They drop a bunch of valuable mats, like for example lion meat, which is great to skill up your cooking, so it goes for a lot of money in the auction house. And those Pristty Whiskers, which also sell for 7 silver, which at this level is pretty nice for trash. Back in vanilla I used this farm spot a lot, but it's not really that worth it on a high rate server, since at higher levels of course you gain way more in terms of gold. On top of that it's Wrath of the Lich King, so gold isn't that big of an issue anyway I guess. But speaking of farming, this place is also quite okay. Most of the time it's not too contested and those trash items also sell for quite some cash. And stuff like salt or the stones can also be sold on the auction house. but make sure to not take those summoners too lightly. They have a high aggro range and sometimes they even summon fear chists, and they in return also summon shield guards. So if you are not careful, you can be overwhelmed faster than you think. Okay, completing those 2 tasks should provide us with yet another level. Nice, there we go. But before we advance to the Arathi Highlands, I would like to complete the quest Harkur's Revenge. Scripting and lore-wise, probably one of my favorites in World of Warcraft, at least at the low level ranges. Especially in vanilla, you could wreak quite some havoc with this quest. This is South Shore, the Alliance quest hub. It's very important to be careful around here not to attract any of those guards. You hand the quest in right here, and what usually should happen is that this guy, Harkur, will spawn, and he will also spawn a bunch of skeletons, warriors who will fight for him. So let's see how this quest is scripted on Sunwell. I could imagine that they might have not done it correctly, but I mean, at least it's completable, so that's kinda nice. But yeah, usually this guy should summon a bunch of warriors now, and then basically raid South Shore. So you could imagine in a PvP heavy area like this, in vanilla, with a bunch of players around. This was like super chaotic, but also a lot of fun. There should be a chest spawn around this area. Sometimes hard to see with all of the snow going on. Just noticed there's one more thing I could do before going here, and that is Hamburg Sword, which is a pretty easy quest to do, especially after Burning Crusade, since all of those enemies, well, they are nerfed from elites to just normal NPCs. Battle for Hillspread will lead you here eventually, so you might want to combine it with that one. But from any private server I've played on, and also this one, as you can see, it always drops on the first enemy, so very easy to do quests, and I would highly recommend you to check it out. Also in this area you can find a tribute to one of the friends of the developers, who unfortunately died in a car accident. Some might think that this would be like a weird Easter egg with Anthony Ray Stark being the one that is attributed, and well, this dwarf kinda looking like he might have a Iron Man armor, but even that would be a stretch, I guess. But yeah, some people might make that connection, I guess. But as I mentioned, this is about a friend of the developers who died, and the dwarf was his main character. From what I've read on the forums, apparently this guy, Anthony, was a really kind-hearted and amazing guy, so I think it's great that the developers included this tribute. Okay, moving on. I'm going to make my way back to Terran's Mill, hand in those last remaining quests. Off screen I might increase my mining skill even further, so we will have a good time at the Arathi Highlands in the next episode. We might be able to hit level 35 from this, so I think this is all in all, yeah, nice. Barely even, but yeah, great. So all in all, this should make a great end to this episode. We are pretty much finished with Hillspread. Next time it will be Arathi Highlands, and probably, if I'm insane enough, we are also going to check out Stranglethorn for a while. 4 episodes, 35 levels, I think we are on a good track right here. If you enjoyed it so far, I would appreciate a like, of course, and other than that, I can just say have a great day, and as always, take care. Bye.